Hours, we will crown a champion. Will it be one of these two? Oz or Soulkey? Spawning in the top left-hand corner, always known as a strong player, but never a champion. Can he break the mold today? From Evil Geniuses, it is Oz! Spawning in the bottom right-hand position from Woongjin Stars, one of the best Zergs in the world, if not the best himself, it is Soulkey! Looks like Gateway first is going to be the play out of Oz. He's going to be going for that. Definitely needs to get that early defense up. So, tell me a little bit about some of the Zerg responses to fast gate and base.
It's interesting. Normally, when you go Forge fast expansion, you will see a probe, but Gateway fast expansions, you will not see a probe at all. When that happens, you can kind of go for this very quick hatchery that we see right now. After that, there's a lot of different options. I love this. Soulkey is putting a drone here because he doesn't know exactly if there's a photon cannon rush or not. And from here, this is a standard opening, getting the gas hearse before the pool, but he definitely could have gotten for that third hatchery as you were talking about in the pregame show.
Yeah, this is an extremely cautious opening from Soulkey. He's essentially straight predicting that his opponent wants to be going for a very, very fast gateway first. Pretty bold play from Soulkey, but this isn't +1 on his Zerglings.
And this is a common style that we see all the time in Belshir Vestige. Kind of sidesteps that big mid-game attack when a lot of Sentries, Zealots, Immortals, whatever it might be, attacking into the third base. What you do is you're able to prioritize more quality units so you don't have to have such an excess of units and not really be aggressive. Because if you attack, you're always attacking up a ramp or down a narrow hallway. Everything just doesn't look good for Zerg. So a lot of times Protoss, if they're up against regular 3-hatch play, they can just get a lot of units and say, hey, no problem. I can just wait until mid-end game and win the game at that stage, because this map really doesn't feature great Zerg attacking play.
So it looks like we see the Nexus going down. Sentry first is kind of an interesting choice. Normally we see a little bit more aggression out of Oz, like a Zealot Stalker type of play, but this Sentry indicates that he wants to save up to do a more aggressive Warp Gate-based attack. He saves the funds, throws down gateways, and the most common opening we see on this map is the 3 Warp Gates at the front for a total of 4. But not going to be so good against Soulkey, who's already elected to go for the 2-hatch. But look at this, he's building 2 gates in the back of his base.
Interesting. I'm wondering why he does that. So what is going to put in the front? This is obviously just the mind game of his opponent, because he has no clue what's back here. And I think Soulkey is going to be a little bit confused. He's like, well, where is your wall? Where are your 2 gateways in the front here? Now the first one, oh my goodness, it's going to be a 5-gate pressure. Ooh. Day 9.
This is a very cute play coming out of Oz. As Soulkey, do you think, well, maybe not, oh, there's a sentry at the ramp already. Nope, denied.
Good play. That's a very important deny. Of course, if he sees these 2 gateways, a lot of problems. But wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Overlord, oh, we'll just miss the gateway. Oh, gosh. Oh, no, he sees the gateway.
And he sees it. In the nick of time, he spots it, but I don't know if it's going to be in time. Down here on the bottom side, Oz is already going to be up against a wall. Soulkey did, in fact, decide to go for a very swift third after he got this expansion up. This means it is the minimum amount of units to defend. To get your fast third hatch up means a huge extra set of larvae, and that larva is not going to be present against 5 gates of aggression. Oz, though, is cutting a lot of corners to pull this off. 31 probes. No probes in the production queue. That means that Oz is more or less needing this attack to succeed.
That's going to be the saving grace. So I do believe Oz will be able to get the third base and maybe just recall out of here. The question is, how much economic damage did he do to himself by doing this attack? It looks like he's actually pretty good.
That's a great point to bring up, Andre. This probe needs to react fast. No! Soulkey sweeps into the natural expansion.
Great counter attack so far. There is a single stalker over here. But Soulkey is just overrunning his opponent. The third base did go down.
Just to try to lock out the lanes, then, I mean, I love the point you bring up, Andre. How much damage did Oz do to himself with this push? It is a two-base versus two-base right now, with a whole string of roaches approaching on in. Those lanes are still in the main base. Oz.
And everything is going to stabilize a little bit here for Oz.
Oh,
again.
You thought walking into a sliding glass door hurt. Try a force field. Oz now in prime condition to defend himself. Now that that photon overcharge is up, Soulkey, meanwhile, back home, looks to be going straight into Hydralisks. This is a very smart choice. Hydralisks are relatively cheap on larva. You don't need a lot of queens, don't need a lot of econ to throw out a good 12, 15 of them very quickly. And given that Oz is stuck on gateway tech for a little bit of time, it means that it's an extremely safe move from Soulkey.
The tech for Oz is just so far behind. That's what it comes down to, and he knows this. If he goes into tech right now, he's just assuming the loss. He's just going to try to put pressure on the already high sentry count that he has.
Oh, well, Oz said if at first you don't succeed, try again. 2 more gateways going down in the back of Oz's base. He is going to be supremely aggressive in this spot. And I don't dislike this choice either. Like you said, sentry-based attacks are going to be extremely powerful. And on this map, it's already thrown down, what, 7, 8 in those early stages? Look at the energy on those.
And it's 13 sentries. How do you deal with this as a Zerg in the beginning stages? You just need to overwhelm your opponent. Sentries actually cost a lot of gas, and when you factor that in, that means the stalker count is pretty low in this beginning stage, but he will try to warp in as many stalkers as possible. Again, going for this counterattack. Zealot's being warped in. A nice warp in. And this is going to be enough nice force shields to start things off.
Roach is getting caught way out of position, and that's going to be a bunch of free units for Oz. The amazing force fields. Keep the Hydras away, keep the Roaches in, and this is the last thing this Soulkey wanted. He has to replenish those Roaches. He lets all of them die, and Overlord floats over. Every little unit counts. We see a ring of Stalkers planting down, and it looks like Oz is getting one step closer to that take it to BlizzCon.
Things are looking good, but the Queens do complicate things. They're great tanks. There's still a lot of Roaches in this composition, and Zerglings from behind will get swept up. How is Oz going to do this, though? It is still a little bit tricky. I mean, those Hydralisks have some pretty good range, of course, with that Groove Spine upgrade. No counterattack. First force field goes down, and that's the first step. It looks like both these players are a little bit scared to provoke this attack.
That's a brutal time warp. That's going to slow down all the units on the right flank. Force Field's in amazing position, has snatched up the right side. Mothership core's down. I don't know if it matters at this point, but the sentries are in the front lines. The Hydralisks are dealing massive damage to them. Soulkey's Roaches must get to the front now. Drones have been pulled at this point. Nothing's really mining at the third for Soulkey either.
Another great force field wall, but Soulkey microing this perfectly, sending the Queens and the Hydras over to the left side. You can't chase them because you're on creep. These force fields will go ahead and collapse. And now Soulkey is starting to stabilize a little bit more, but it still is a hard fight. Drones are off the line. So he's only on 1 base economy. He needs to shut this down, Day 9.
All the drones in the middle. An amazing center force field, locking a lot of the Hydras in the back, permitting the drones to walk on through. Happy to have those drones at the front line, Oz. Picks them off one at a time. The drone count has plummeted to 32. It looks like Soulkey's defending, but what has been the cost? What? GG! With 20... The man spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner, one of the champion Zergs of Korea leading the series, Woongjin star Soulkey.
And the top right-hand corner, the red Protoss, it is our evil geniuses, Oz.
Looks like it will be, yet again, a gateway in main base. Now, I got a question for you, Toronto. Are you rooting for Soulkey? Or are you kind of secretly rooting for Naniwa?
A little bit. It is a gateway opening yet again. From Evil Geniuses. Oz, he's going to be doing this a little bit different. I think Forge Fast expansion is a very popular on this map. I can understand why. I like the Probe Scout too with the Gateway expand because, as I said, it feels like Forge Fast expansion right now, but it's in fact looking like a Gateway no gas expansion.
Oh, this is going to be so dirty if he pulls this one off. Soulkey's going to expand to the wrong place. That's not what you want to do, Soulkey. Oh, Oz is going to get a nice pickup. He cancels. He can actually just slam out a very fast Zealot. Look at that. No gas yet. He's actually going to go one gate chrono boosted Zealot. Oh, Oz. Oh, no. No, he's going for a Nexus. Never mind. No tension is going to happen.
I still love the build of Oz so far. I mean, like, just forcing that third base, or at least the natural at the third base, it does mess up a couple of minerals. You want to be transferring drones all the way over there. He's going to lose out maybe 100, 200 minerals because of this, though.
Well, Oz is poking on in. He has both seen no expansion at the natural and no attempt to take a second base at the natural. So in this spot, Oz will likely either just straight assume he's against 3 base. Yeah, I mean, you really should at this point in time. It's right at the 4-minute mark. That's when the Zergs will generally get up all 3 of those bases. Well, I mean, technically, he's either on 3 bases or he's bad, and you can cross off one of those possibilities with Soulkey.
Yes. So Oz for sure knows his 3 base. I like this position for him as he's already gotten his Nexus out. This is a very, very fast economic build. And you also get your tech really fast. Now, normally for Forge Fast expansions, you would go ahead and get the Forge, the cannons. He doesn't have to worry about that, so it's just about 300 minerals faster for him to tech.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. You normally either go for a gate first, and then you're spending money on gas, cybernetics core, warp gate, mothership core. A lot of these things can come down before you even begin the Nexus. But Oz didn't really delay his cybernetics core that much at all, and it was all thanks to that very clever early scout that blocked the natural expansion. I mean, Oz is playing this very well, but let's not forget Soulkey is just amazing at these variable situations. And Soulkey,
look at that,
has his extractor spotted.
Really weird extractor timing, right? He started at 5 minutes, and normally the go-to is for Soulkey double gas at 5:45. So he's bringing out really early, maybe a little bit defensive, wants to get metabolic boost out really fast.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely seems like it, wanting to get that gas up to deny any potential gateway push, because one of the reasons why you would go for gateway expand is to go for a fast warp gate attack. And Soulkey even has some evidence from last game that Oz is willing to do warp gate attacks.
Yeah, normally, against Forge Fast expansion it would be double 5:45, but now it makes a lot of sense because he's up against gateway. Needs to be so much more cautious.
Third base from
Oz.
Oz.
What the heck? This is a 6:30 third base. Now, this is very scary if the Zerg player, and especially if you don't have Overlords in that area. And guess what? He has no Overlords in that area.
Oh no, looks like it's going to be an attempted flank from all sides by Soulkey, but Oz micros so well. Look at this. The only hull damage he took is just a few hit points on this Zealot. Only 14 points of damage. Oz is going to sit back, let that charge happen back on his shields, and then re-engage. These are free units. All the while, Oz is getting up an extra base.
And if he's able to get that up, obviously Photon Overcharge will be so helpful, but a lot of Zerglings popping out here, and Metabolic Boost is about to finish. This can surprise Oz pretty extremely bad. And if Oz doesn't get some sort of wall or cannons up, I don't even think he has a forge. This is not looking good. Soulkey might have the perfect build order counter to Oz.
Try to move out with all your units. Are you scared to do that? Do you just Photon Overcharge? Yep, looks like Photon Overcharge is going to be the choice. Soulkey is not abandoning. Soulkey is trying to target fire it down. No, has to pull out.
Yeah. Not enough Zerglings there, and he's able to block the front. But does see the Twilight Council Forge going down here, so that should give indicators. A lot of times when you see Twilight Council as the next major tech, you're thinking +2 Blink Stalker all in off of 3 base.
And I love that play. Always a very strong play, Blink Stalkers especially, because of how difficult it is to defend all these varying angles. Soulkey, though, has to move in fast. Nope, the window of time is closed. There is no more opportunity. It is a walled-off cannon in the main base. Soulkey throwing down the infestation pit, likely going straight up for a fast hive. The signal's going to be what these Evo chambers do. We just see armor right now, roach speed going down. Never a big signal. You always do want roach speed if you think you're up against a gateway aggressive player, which is definitely Oz in this position. But what is that second Evo chamber going to do? Oh, there it is. It's going to be melee attacks.
Yeah. Okay, so this almost feels like it is going to be a Has Hive tech, but I think he's going to stop first at Infestation Pit. He's going to get the, wow, I thought it was going to be Infestors, but no, it will be Swarm Hosts. Now, this is a tough map to pull off Swarm Hosts, just because of the openness. You can always circumvent the Swarm Hosts or the Locusts and get behind them or to the side or just completely disregard them.
This is definitely Soulkey we're seeing here. I mean, Soulkey, all right, time to build the slowest unit in the game and take the farthest away expansion in the game. It's not a criticism of Soulkey. This is his exceptional play. Only Soulkey is someone I would trust to be spreading himself this thin on this many disparate positions and being able to pull it off. But Oz smells Swarm Host. He's going double Robo, and that's not for maximum Observer production.
That's a lot of Colossus. He still hasn't scouted out or sniffed out that 4th base, but I love this continuous hallucinated scouts always on the map. He's checking and making sure that the compositions are exactly what he thinks they are.
And he's spotting where the army is. It looks like he's going to check for this watchtower. Is he going to hook up to the top left? No, it looks like he will just be hallucinated to death.
Pushing out to the map now, I like this. You want to do this as Protoss consistently. Even though there aren't any timings, you want to force out as many units as possible. Look at all those roaches popping out. Those could have been Swarm Hosts. Those could have been Infestors or better tech. But what you're doing, you've already built your army. You can easily recall out if ever it gets #dicey.
Well, it looks like we are seeing the Warp Prism pop out. A little bit of blink moves, advancing to the front lines. This top corner, Soulkey, so on point about getting those geysers up and operational right away. Here comes the Swarm Host, and then it's time to run for Oz. But Warp Prisms, the best counter. I mean, in this position, what do you do if you're Soulkey? I mean, the worst defensive unit in the game, the Swarm Host, can never catch up to these counter warp-ins. 2 Colossus being chrono boosted out at a time. I mean, infinite Colossus always going to be correct against Swarm Host.
If Oz does this right, he should never have to engage against those Swarm Hosts. Crossing the map is the hardest thing for Somas. As you said, one of the hardest to defend units, and with Warp Prisms out in the field, with Blink Stalkers being active and his whole army still shuffling around the map, it's hard to really justify that push. So I think Oz is in a great position mobility-wise. The question is, how is Soulkey going to settle things down? How can he get this good fight with the Swarm Host connecting against all of the main army? He needs fungal growth. He needs something to clamp down the army, or maybe Vipers even.
Yeah, Vipers would be a great choice. Hive is just finished up. Spire's just finished up. Corruptor's also en route, it looks like. Whoa, wait a minute. What's this spell?
Never seen it before.
Going to be surprisingly useful in this circumstance. I mean, Soulkey's going to dance back and forth. Swarm Host count not particularly high, but the Warp Gate Moving into the backside. Oh no, see you later, ramp control.
Oh, here we go.
And
force field is
boom,
down.
it goes.
And can do a lot of warp-ins here. He has a lot of gateways, and at the meantime doing an attack at the top left-hand side. A lot of units going down, but I don't think Soulkey has the material to really clean this up.
Man, you can't defend this with the Locust. They're too slow. More force fields at the ramp. What a play from Oz. He's out of force fields, but also Soulkey may be soon at a hive. Top base definitely taking some serious hits as well.
And this is the mobility factor that you really have as Protoss if you're up against Swarm Host. They take so long to pop out here to hive.
300 HP, 250, 200, it stays alive.
Soulkey barely holds on there, but that's going to be a big point of contention as Oz will want to clean that up yet again. The fourth base, though, being removed off the map, that's a big boon to Oz's army, his future plans, because now this big engagement will have no bank behind it, no bank for the Zerg, so they can just tech switch and overrun the Protoss player.
You know, one thing I'm seeing here is that as awesome as those moves from Oz were, the key parts of the army haven't really reduced in number. There's still a lot of Swarm Hosts, still good number of Corruptors, 6 on the field right now. So Oz needs to make a little bit more of.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Going for the hive.
Oh, with the hallucinated
cool
Phoenix.
play.
What a move.
Transfuse. Knife 2. Will he get it? One more shot. Down it goes. Oz will take out the hive of his opponent and see the Greater Spire being morphed at the same time. Such important key scouts here.
What a play from Oz. Hallucinated Phoenixes being a benefit all game long. Double Stargate going down. That's going to be a sign that Tempests are on the plan for Oz. He needs some way to deal with the long range of Broodlords, the long range of Swarm Hosts. He has enough Colossi to deal with all the Locusts, as well as anything else Zerg will make on the ground. But there's 6 Broodlords coming up. Broodlord, Swarm Host, a brutal combination. Don't forget how much damage the Locusts are doing with each shot. 12, unupgraded.
Now comes down to just Soulkey being out of position. It's very hard to assault the Zerg base if your units are in the perfect position. Roaches are counterattacking third base, but I think it will be cleared up. Still doing a lot of damage. Now blinking into the... Oh my God, look at this.
What a move!
Taking out the third base, it's very heavily saturated.
Roaches annihilating the expansion. Zerglings heading up, but it's the third of Soulkey that's the big problem right now. Those are exposed Broodlords. Is Oz going to try to go for the pickup? Is he going to pull out? It looks like it's going to be a very cautious play. Getting a little bit disorganized there, but the base is starting to go down. Oh my God, Pylon gets picked. Nothing there to reinforce.
And those Zerglings are taking him down so fast. Will they be able to do it in time? The Nexus will go down.
Oh, what a move again. Crazy exchanges by Soulkey and Oz in this key game 2. Fleet Beacon completes, but Oz doesn't even have the funds to start Tempest production. He would love a Templar Archives right now because there is 2,000 gas in the bank, but will he have time to do it? 11 Swarm Hosts, 7 Broodlords advance.
It will be difficult at this point. I mean, he's barely mining his fourth base just being taken out, and his third base, a lot of the probes being taken out. No, actually, I'm sorry. He kept a lot of his probes. He's still at 79, so that's a pretty high count.
Wow.
If we look at the Army tab, the Zerg has 111 supply invested against 90 of the Protoss, so it is looking pretty decent right now for Soulkey as he moves in with this very slow army.
Well, Soulkey's beginning the siege. What will the tech choice path of Oz be? Does he want to commit to those Tempests?
Nice
it looks like Oz is going to be committing to counterattacks. If I can keep you on no bases, I'll eventually win the war of attrition. Oh, Soulkey doesn't recognize.
Dark Templar is just ripping apart this army now. All the work that Soulkey put out on the middle of the map is for naught. I mean, he has to go back to defend. And remember, Oz still has a recall. He needs to get out of here.
Takes some serious hits. 1 Colossus falls. Clusters up. Recall needs to happen mighty soon, and there it goes. At the top side, though.
Dark Templars were cleared out. Yeah. I mean,
little guy.
And a fight is brewing, day 9.
Tempest
out
arrived.
in the field. This will help, but he needs vision on that army, which is difficult. Both players almost at max supply. Oz at a 182, still needs a little bit of room there. 140 supply for the Zerg army against 104. You can see.
I mean, it's sick how big the army of Soulkey is. I mean, look at the resources tab. Oh my God, 10K, 5K for Soulkey, and 5K, 3K for Oz. Oz is in a very dicey spot. He needs to do some amazing Tempest shots. This is gonna help, dealing every little bit of damage that he can. Oh, that's not a fair amount of Broodlords. There should be like a Broodlord only supplied cap. It's 14 on the field right now.
Oh, how can he actually deal with that? I don't think he has the anti-air just yet. Tempest take a long time. Now counterattack again at the third space. Soulkey crushes all the probes in here. These Zerglings have been ripping apart every one of the Protoss units, but the counterattack is doing so much here. Does he have another recall though? Day 9, the Tempest cannot die here.
He shouldn't blink forward. There are Broodlords on the other side. Where is the mothership core? It's nowhere nearby that I can see. Oh no, not a recall in sight.
No, there is not. Where can he possibly
Where does he go? Where does he go?
This is not looking good. He loses the entire army here. Broodlords gonna just sweep on through. No response from Oz. Down to 128 supply. Oz trying to take out this hatchery. But Soulkey is just on top of everything. He doesn't mind because, hey, he just killed like seven Stalkers, 4 Colossus, Tempest. Everything is looking great for our Zerg player.
Somehow Oz managed to keep that expansion alive, but there's 11 Swarm Hosts, 11 Corruptors, 14 Broodlords, 5 Queens on the map. Hardly anything for the Protoss player. I mean, maybe an extreme number of Tempests will win this game, but I'm not convinced. This is a terrifying army, and only Corruptors need to be made right now for Zerg. Protoss out-expanding the Zerg, that's kind of uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to Soulkey attacking very, very soon. He needs to do damage fast. He needs to have the engagement fast here. It'll be difficult because these Tempests are going to constantly try to kite back and back and back. And I like the little attacks at the third base, but the first round of Swarm Hosts, the Locusts, should not be going into the natural here. They need to be going into that third base to force Oz to engage.
Now Oz is looking for any opportunity to pick off the detection that he can to get observers in position, because without sight range, the Tempests are not particularly useful. Locust, though, deals sickening damage, sickeningly fast. Oz, 46 probes to 36.
I think Oz is in a decent position here, though. He can start kiting with those Tempests if he so chooses. The Broodlords are a little bit exposed. Dark Templar goes down to drones. And there is a counterattack brewing in the top left-hand corner. Great Dark Templar usage yet again. You need to take off those Queens.
Mothership core, no! It falls!
An important unit. Now Tempest being taken out right as they leave.
This counterattack is going to be the game changer. It's Tempest with cannons. And it looks like, will any fall? One goes down, and this is a big commitment by Soulkey. I don't know if I like the decision. 6 more Corruptors in production. It's all up to the Tempest now. The Broodlords are in sight range, getting one-shotted.
And he needs to do game-ending damage with this counterattack. I mean, these Tempests will not be able to do it by themselves. The pylon goes down, powering all 7 of those cannons. Corruptors closing in. Can they do it against these Tempests? There is no more anti-air. 6 Corruptors in the production tab. And I think maybe Oz can hold here.
I mean, this is very close, because right now there's 33 drones, but there's nothing mining. I mean, Soulkey is completely committed to this top corner. We see Stormers do have the energy that they need. This one probe continues to mine gas in the midst of every terror he's just seen. What a dedicated guy. Locusts continue to charge forward. The army has gotten neither larger nor smaller for Soulkey.
But look at this. All he has to do is kill all the anti-air.
Yes,
If he kills the Corruptors, there's nothing in response to these Tempests, and Oz can still win the game. Yes, Swarm Hosts are on the ground. Yes, there's a lot of Broodlords, but it doesn't matter because all he needs to do is give infinite time for these Tempests to wail away at all those units.
I mean, this is as close as a game can be. More Warpins happen there. The choice of unit is High Templar. I like it. Very efficient. Going to be throwing down the Archon, still leaving enough room to get gas. Right now, Oz. Oh, Changeling spot everything. Going to be heading up onto the top. And what will the choice be?
It's just so tense right now. Now finally starting to mine up. His income is not going to be fast enough to really get a hatchery down there all too fast. Trying to flank around where the units are out of position. Will he get it? The Corruptors, such a low count, but now the Locusts will be going the right way. Oz needs to rethink about pushing into this direction. Also, Oz cannot lose these observers.
Oh, yeah. Oz is losing everything at this top side. He's completely abandoned his base. I mean, I'm not quite sure what Oz was planning here. I mean, this base is destined to fall now that he's stepped away.
Yeah. Corruptors gets a nice storm off, just weakens them a little bit for those Tempests to take over. But, oh, Locust.
Stormed the Overlord.
And now, all of a sudden, Oz needs to be careful that he can get eliminated. Are there any probes? There are no probes on the field, Day9.
There's no probes on the map. Oh, no.
And he's supply
Oh, my God.
So if he loses that Nexus, he's dead.
This is it. Oz needs to engage now. He knows it. He knows that this is the time. He has to strike, but he can't get good angle. Oh, a terrible blink!
Big misstep. Loses most of the units. Now Corruptor starting to engage. The Tempest need to turn around. There's only 4 Tempests left. There it is. Is he going to get good Storm? Storm on top of the Corruptors. But I don't think it's going to be enough, Day9.
Oh no, at the key moment, Oz chokes, misblinks, abandons his expansion, runs out of probes, and Broodlord, Corruptor, Swarm Host proves too strong. Soulkey rolls through in a tense game 2. GG is called.
Soulkey,
all those answers already in mind with their openings, but Soulkey here looks like he is just going standard as standard can be. Hidden Robo means that Oz is probably leaning a little bit more towards something like a Warp Prism.
Warp Prism, it could be the Mortal All-In. There are a couple of good spots, and if we look in Oz's vision real quick, he has spotted the third base over in the mid left-hand position. There are 2 major places that you can get as a third. And I think he says, oh, well, if you're going to expand over there, I'm going to attack in that narrow little choke where the Overlord is in the mid left-hand corner. He's going to be able to attack down this line, and it's very hard for Zerg to engage against this because force fields are really nice. You can use the Assimilator, or not the Assimilator, the Vespene Gas as one of your kind of walls in your attack.
That's a great read, Andre. We're seeing the Chrono Boosted Immortal coming up right away. Gateway's beginning to go down for Oz, but as good as this angle is over at the far left, I mean, what scares me is the counterattacks. It's so easy to just waltz right up into that widespread front. There's no ramp that we can see Oz easily defend with.
Look at this variation, though. This is such a cool variation. It's 3 gas instead of the regular 4 gas. Very interesting. He's going to get a lot more minerals. It's going to hit a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And right now, if I'm Soulkey, I'm actually thinking this is going to be a Sentry expand into
100%.
well, a Sentry drop expand because there's no, well, even that it's a little bit weaker. You're expecting that 4th gas. I don't know. If I'm Soulkey, I'm really, really confused.
Yeah, Soulkey is, he's throwing down up to 4 gas right now. So he's saying, all right, you're doing something a little cute, but not huge. So that means I need to begin teching up so I can answer what your follow-up is. But there is no follow-up. Yeah, it's just this huge gateway push. God, how many gateways does this guy have? 8. That is a very juicy number of gates. And this is coming out at 8:30.
Wow, look at that pylon positioning, though. He's not going to that mid left-hand corner. He's going to the bottom right. Very interesting choice. I have to say, it's going to be a lot harder to actually pull off this attack.
Soulkey is confused. He does not know what is going on. He sees this push moving down, and this is great movement by Oz. He's going to cut left, likely cut down after he gets all the way to the left. At the front of the base, walled in. Pylon already preemptively back one step. And maybe Oz actually does want to go for this and was just leaving his options open. We see a Hydralisk Den answer coming out for Soulkey. Speed for Roaches nowhere near completion. What a fast push from Oz.
Normally you're over at your opponent's base by 10 minutes. This is coming at 9:30, a full 30 seconds faster. You can see the effects of that later gas right now. And he's getting positioned a lot faster. Makes a lot of sense because if you wait this long, you might be in a lot of trouble just crossing the map, but Spine Crawler's in great position. Look at the Roaches and Zerglings. Soulkey, it almost looks like he has this shut down already.
Well, there's 9 Hydras en route. The time to strike is now. He needs to get the Immortals to the front. He doesn't want the Spines picking away at the sentries. Oz needs to go, and there's the moment. Can he get at the good angle? The Spine Crawlers have taken hardly any damage. The position is very weak for Oz right now. Now he's starting to get the angle. Where are the Zealot reinforcements? Soulkey is doing a clinic on defending this all-in.
Yeah, it's perfect. The Spine Crawlers are so beautiful, and now it just looks like the army is so feeble. Although nice force fields do cut off a lot of Roaches, Oz looks like he's going to be okay here, but he doesn't have a lot of force fields. Drone now being
there's the
pulled.
drones moving in. He sees that there's almost no energy left on those sentries, so that means the drones can easily get in, tank tons of damage, but Zealot Warpins continue, acting as replacement force fields. More units getting trapped. Can Oz chrono boost his way and get enough units out? The 3 Immortals have still stayed strong. They are such powerful units. +1 done for Protoss. He's ripping down the Ling lines, but Soulkey defends.
A beautiful hold so far. 2 Spine Crawlers still healthy. Income tab showing 55 Harshers to 45. So he still needs to keep going. He still needs to do more damage. Chrono boost going down on all of the gateways. And things are looking very tough for Oz. Will he reapproach this attack? I don't mind that at all because the Spine Crawlers really complicate so much.
Spine Crawlers beautifully placed, but Oz wants to swing back around, as you say. Overlord's going down. This is going to be a very long, slow push. Zergling speed is not done. It's actually half out at this point in time. Oz is committed. He can't change his plan now.
This is good. This is good. He's going to wrap around, go into the natural, I believe. The Zergling is going to see this coming, though. But the pylon is already placed, and that's a very nice pylon to have. The reinforcement's so high up there.
He's got to get up there fast. Soulkey's moving to intercept. Oz has a lot of funds. Throws down Stalkers, much beefier, stronger units, much more well-equipped to fight this. But the Concave is glorious for Soulkey. I don't even know how much those force fields are going to help. There's Hydralisks on the backside, annihilating the Zealots that move into the front. 103 to 140.
Done a lot of good damage. The sentries are now going down, and here's the real meat. Oz trying to warp in more units desperately, but there's just too many units. Is Soulkey gonna do it right here? Will he clean it up 3-0? Now finally pushing back the Immortals.
Unbelievable micromanagement from Oz. Queen's at the front lines, but there's no more units. There's nothing.
No!
Oh, and he loses